Right, thank you very much for coming. Let's start the webinar here. So today we'll be talking about I think it's a famous topic, okay, the topic that people are talking about over and over. So it's about integrating radios with Mikrotik, okay. My name is Achmad Mardiansyah and then I'm from GLC Networks Indonesia. The agenda that we'll be talking today are first introductions, and then we'll be talking about the radius, and then talking about radius on router OS, how to configure it, and then GLC radius. Okay, some demo, some pictures how we configured, and then if you have a question and answer, feel free to do so. About the GLC itself, we are Indonesian company. GLC stands for Garda Lintas Cakrawala. We are based in Bandung. Our areas are training and IT consulting. We are Mikrotik certified training partner, consultant and distributor, Ubiquiti and Red Hat as well. About the webinar itself, we start the webinar since 2010, January 1st. So at the time we talk about, it's New Year. And the topic was talking about the Solaris operating system. So why Solaris? Because at that time we focus on operating system. Okay, so webinar is just a sharing event with various topics, Linux, networking, wireless. Regular schedule is every 2 weeks, irregular schedule as needed. Check our schedule on our website. If you want to be a presenter, just let us know, and then we'll give a slot for you. And about myself, my name is Achmad Mardiansyah. I'm based in Bandung. A Linux user since 1999, Mikrotik user since 2007, Ubiquiti user since 2011. Certified trainer for Mikrotik, Ubiquiti and Red Hat, certified consultant, previously working as sysadmin, programmer, and then lecturer. Personal website is there. If you have LinkedIn account, and then we can connect. Now, please introduce yourself. What's your name, where you're from, your networking experience, Mikrotik experience, what you expect from this webinar. Okay, so just type here on attendees chat. So yeah, at least I know the background of the attendees here. Okay, anyone? Could you please introduce yourself? Okay, I can see several people here from Indonesia. Okay. Oh, okay. So I have reply here. Gusti Karnawan. Okay, thank you very much. From university. Okay. I didn't see the public chat. Oh yeah. Okay, just type it. And then I will broadcast to everybody. Okay. So first is Gusti Karnawan from Universitas Nasional, and then Nofrizal from Jakarta. Okay, working in Bali as network integration. Okay. Can you chat me on public? Yes, there I will get. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay, you just type it. Maybe there is some errors. So I can see maybe there is a bug here today. So everyone, when they post on chat, you always send to me, not everyone. Okay, well I can send a chat to everybody. Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay, so thank you for Nofrizal. Thank you for what is it, Gusti Karnawan. Thank you for Nicola, and I believe Nicola, you're from Australia, yes? Yeah, okay, so you have 5-year experience. Okay, so Nicola is one of the GLC networks subscriber. So thank you very much for coming. Yeah, it must be very late here in Australia, in Sydney. Okay, so let's move. Okay, let's talk about Radius. So what is Radius? Radius is Remote Authentication Dial-in User Service. So it's a long acronym. It's a protocol. Okay, it's the architecture is client server, so it's not peer-to-peer. And then it is used for AAA. What is AAA? It's authentication, authorization, accounting. Okay, oops, sorry. Created by Livingston, now it's owned by Lucent. It's de facto, maybe better if I turn the camera off so that the bandwidth will not be sacrificed. Okay, so it's okay. Let's continue. So it's de facto industry standard for network authentication. Okay, sorry. It is adopted in IETF by IETF, Internet Engineering Task Force, and then the radius is defined in RFC 2865, and then RFC 2866. It's for radius accounting. You can Google it. Yeah. So, but so the thing is, radius is there. The proposal is on that RFC. So it's quite long. So about the implementation itself, it consists of two things. First is Radius server, and then NAS. NAS is a network access server. Usually NAS has two interfaces. So first interface goes to Radius server, and then the second interface goes to the user. So this is NAS, a NAS, network access server. So first interface goes to Radius server here, and then the second interface goes to the user. Okay, the Radius protocol can be used with many technologies at NAS. Okay, so you can use Radius with hotspot, PPTP, PPPoE, VPN. So many service depends on the NAS itself. Okay, about what is so previously we talked about the AAA. Okay, AAA stands for authentication, authorization, and accounting. So here, authentication means only registered user can access the network. Okay, so that could be what you know. Okay, for example, you just make an authentication based on username and password. Okay, if you are want to have security, and then you can try the next level. For example, what you have in this case, for example, token or SMS. Okay, so the password will be sent to in SMS. Okay, or what you are, retina scan, fingerprint. Okay, so those are authentication. So the purpose for authentication is to authenticate, to allow people get into the network. Okay, so that's the purpose of authentication. Next is authorization. Authorization means right of the user. Okay, so user already authenticates, so it means that they already in the network. And then the next question is, what can they do? Okay, so that is defined in authorization. For example, access controls. You can access this network, but not that network. Data access control. You can access this and that. Restriction. Okay, you cannot access port 9999, for example. And then it also defines your service. Okay, so your download is maximum is 5 megabit per second, for example. Yeah, so those parameters are defined in authorization. So again, the authorization means rights of the user. The next A is accounting. Accounting means recording what user is doing. So that could be traffic volumes, how much data you already downloaded. Okay, 5 gigabyte, 1 gigabyte, how much data you already downloaded. Okay, and then counting about the online time. Okay, how much time you spend on our network, 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay, and then the session. Okay, how many uh, how many users do you use to log in? Okay, when do you log in, when do you log out? And the next is Radius benefit. So why use Radius? Because it's open scalable solution. Okay, why Radius? Yeah, because it's scalable. For example, NAS, you have a very cheap NAS, but if you just only use that one NAS, it won't be um, scale much, or it cannot handle many users. Yeah, so that's why the user and then the username password will be stored in Radius. Next is Radius is supported by a large vendor base. Okay, so one Radius, for example GLC Radius, can be used for many NAS. Okay, it supports Mikrotik, it supports Cisco. Okay, it supports other vendors. Why? Because the Radius itself is open standard. Okay, next benefit is easy modification, centralized AAA. We can do separation of security and communication process. Okay, can be adaptable to most security system. Work with any clients that supports the protocol, the NAS. Okay, simple client implementation. Okay. About the Radius software, so first is Free Radius. It's Free Radius is a very famous software for Radius, and it is open source, still in development right now. But you should know that Free Radius is Radius engine only, okay, without user interface. Okay, so only the engine. Okay, so if you want to configure here and there, you need an interface. If you want to create a user, you need an interface. Okay. So next is GLC Radius. So this is our product. Consists of Free Radius and then web interface. So we built our own web interface, and then so we use Free Radius as the basic engine. Okay, but the Free Radius that we are using is customized, so it's not like you download from Free Radius and then do modification and we set up the web interface. No, it's not. So it's really customized. Okay. Next software for Radius is User Manager. That one is Mikrotik product. And then in the market, you can find blah 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 Radius. Okay. Whatever Radius. Okay. Desktop Radius and Radius, Dialog Radius. Whatever Radius. Okay, so usually it consists of Free Radius and then the web interface, right? Yeah, guys, if you have questions, and then feel free to give a question here. Now it's a Radius on Router OS. So next question is, what kind of services that can be supported by Radius on Router OS? So as you can see on the screen here, the one that is surrounded by red line, so those are the services that can be integrated with Radius. So not all. Okay. So for example, PPP. Yeah, PPP is very common. For example, if you want to provide AAA for PPP, example PPPs are PPPoE, PPTP, SSTP, any VPN account, authentication, so that can be integrated with Radius. Second implementation, also famous, is hotspot. Okay, hotspot. So if you want, hotspot means a user will be authenticated by using a web interface. So if you want to log in, and then you have to, there will be a web interface or landing page or captive portal where you have to enter username and password before you can log into the internet. Next is DHCP. So for example, you want to allow this kind of MAC address to be allowed in the network. Okay, so that kind of MAC address will be stored in Radius. Next is login. So how do you log in to your router OS? Okay, you have to create username password in every router, yeah? Well, with Radius, you can centralize it. Okay, you can just create the one user, and then that user can be used for login. The next is wireless. Look, so some people are asking me, what's the difference between hotspot and wireless? They are different. So hotspot means hotspot service, and so a hotspot can be implemented in wired or wireless network. Okay, wireless means like access list. So only certain MAC address of CPE or station, wireless stations, can get into the network. Okay. I have one question here. Do I need to log out and then log in after tapping on that? You complained about that at the previous presentations. Oh, no. I'm not. I think I was talking about the radius from Mikrotik, so it's not GLC Radius. Okay, so previously in user manager is a Radius server that is made by Mikrotik. So that one has a user interface. So sometimes maybe depends on the browser. So when you create something, you have to log out and then log in again. Okay, so yeah, it is different thing. So what this slide is about is the Mikrotik services on router OS. So nothing to do with user manager. Okay. So next is we can configure the router OS to query Radius manager. So we are at the NAS. So at the NAS, we configure the NAS to query to Radius manager. So what are the settings? So first you define the services. Yeah, what kind of services you use to query the Radius manager. And then the address means IP address of Radius manager, and then don't forget to define secret. Okay, so as simple as that. And then from the Radius server, we do the same thing. So in this example, we configure Radius manager to allow NAS to query to our Radius. So first we define the NAS name, so it's up to you, and then the IP address of the NAS, usually IP address on the interface that points to the Radius server. The type, so here is Mikrotik. Why do we need to type? Why do we need to set type here? Because GLC Radius can support not only Mikrotik. Okay, it can support Mikrotik and Cisco NAS. Okay, network access server. Secret, so this is the secret word that is used both by NAS and Radius server. So this is Radius server, not Radius user. Okay, so it's a typo here. And then API. So I think this is the one benefit of if you are using GLC Radius, because it can support user API. Okay, I see some of the Radius software, they don't support API. They just only allow username and password. That's it. Okay, but with GLC Radius, it can support API. Well, next question is, what's the benefit of using API? Well, with API, you can define a customized data rate. For example, after midnight until 6 a.m., yeah, since midnight to 6 a.m., maximum speed is doubled, for example. That one you should use API. Okay, so it's for customized service. Note that Radius is full of custom implementations of each vendor. So for some extent, Radius has same parameters that is supported by many vendors. For example, username, password, those parameters are standard, yeah. So otherwise, how can you log in? Okay, so username and password are standard, but there are many parameters there that is owned specifically by certain NAS. NAS like Mikrotik, Cisco, Aruba Networks, Juniper, whatever, they have their own parameters. Okay, so if NAS from vendor X has feature Y, so which can be activated if the radius is from that vendor too. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's the radius. So specific features only can be activated if you use Radius server and then Radius client or NAS from the same vendor. But here, if we talk about the Radius, GLC Radius, we support many parameters related to Mikrotik. Okay. Okay, so if you want to see, you can see vendor dictionary or attributes. So these are the examples. Okay, sometimes the parameters are not published to the public. Okay, so just check it out. Next is about the GLC Radius. Okay, so currently so previously we have configured the let's get back to the settings. Okay, so currently your NAS here on this slide 15, you already configured your router OS to contact the Radius manager, and then from the Radius manager you do the same, you register the NAS. So if you have 10 NAS, so you have to you need to register all of them. Yeah, 10 NAS here. So at this point, the Radius server and then the NAS should be able to talk each other. Okay, now let's talk about the GLC Radius itself. Yeah, so we will create the username password in the Radius. So about the GLC Radius software, as I explained previously, it is based on FreeRadius, MySQL, and then PHP. It's recommended to be run on Linux. It has unlimited user. Okay, so you can use as much as you like. It can support 10,000 plus users, so the limit is the hardware. Okay, it can support prepaid, postpaid, and then it's stable. Support voucher system. So next is if you want to configure a user on GLC Radius, first is you need to define the service. Okay, and then the best way for defining the service is by using table. So for example, you have service name bronze, silver, gold, and unlimited. Okay, so you define here. So these are the limitations that can be supported by GLC Radius. So you can define bronze for 5 gigabytes download. So if they already download 5 gigabytes already, and then the service will be stopped. Okay, they cannot access the internet unless, for example, they pay for the price. Okay, so that's the limitation. So A limitation can be quota, yeah, download quota, upload quota, or total. Okay, and then we can limit based on online time. So for example, when you buy $1, it can last for 1 day only. Okay, 1 day of usage. Okay. Next is data rate. Okay. For example, we can say for bronze maximum is up to 10 megabit per second. Yeah, you can set it like that. So these are the example of how you define the limit on service. Okay, so once you define the service, and then you define the user. This is the example of user. So you type username. Okay, account type, is it regular or what? So usually it's regular. Account type, okay, it's regular. Password is the password. Okay, very common. And then we have IP address mode CPE. Okay, not CM, CPE. Okay. You can use NAS pool. So at the NAS, for example, in Mikrotik, we can create IP pool, right? You just go to IP pool, and then we can use IP from that pool. Okay. Or we can use IP pool defined by the Radius manager, or we can set up the static IP here. So with Radius, we can say that, oh, okay, so that customer requires static IP, so we just assign specific IP for that particular user. So we can do that. Next is simultaneous user. For example, if you use hotspot, okay, hotspot can be used, one account in hotspot can be used for many users, right? So one account for laptop, the second account is used for a smartphone, third account is for example, tablet, or and then others, other equipments. Yeah, so that is simultaneous use. Okay, so if you put more than that, and then for example, this fifth device cannot log into the network because already used 4. Next is the service. You cannot see here. Okay, and then the service that will be assigned to the radius. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so yeah, you already defined the username and password. Okay, the service. Okay, and then here's the GLC Radius in action. So we can monitor the user status, the table on the left here. And then, as you can see, previously we have table that defines the service. So this kind of service is has maximum of 10 megabit per second. So automatically the Radius manager will create a queue automatically, as you can see on the right table here. Yeah, the automatic queue for that particular user. Okay, so in these examples we use PPPoE authentication, and then as you can see on the right here we have upload and then download limit. Okay, so for example, the first one here is 10 megabit per second upload, and download is 30 megabit per second. Okay. Okay, so benefits of using GLC Radius are it supports API, okay, which can create custom data rate. It can support voucher-based access. It can support top-up, okay. It can support pool and address list, so this is important. Okay, so for example, previously for example, rate. Okay, so simultaneous user, so an account will be given simultaneous user of 4. Okay, and then maximum data rate is let's say 10 megabit per second. So if all of these 4 devices connect to the network, so each user, each interface for these 4 devices that is using the same account, because we have set the simultaneous account is 4, so each of them will be used 10 megabit per second. So if all of them are downloading at the full speed, total of them will be 40 megabit per second. Okay, so with this address list and then pool, we can set that this 10 megabit per second will be shared among these 4 users. Yeah, so we are not only sharing the quota, okay, but also the data rate. Also, it can support prepaid and postpaid, and then many others. If you are interested, just send email to contact@glcnetworks.com, and then you can try the software for example, for several weeks, just for trial. Okay. If you are interested, you can go to our schedule here, and then end of the slide. So yeah, that's all for tonight. If you have questions, and then just type it here. I will discuss it in the webinar. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. If you don't mind, you can type GLC. You can submit your feedback on that URL. Yeah, submit feedback on. I will type it here. http://bit.ly/GLC feedback. Okay, if you don't mind, like our Facebook page, GLC Networks. Our slide will be in SlideShare. Recording will be on YouTube. Okay, that's the channel. So the URL is ugly, but you can just search GLC Networks on YouTube, and then you will end up in our channel. Okay, next, if you have any questions, we'll try your radius, and then we'll let you know. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, just send email to our email. Yeah, our contact email here. Okay, anything else? Thank you a lot. Okay, you are welcome. So at least now you have an idea about how Mikrotik can be integrated with Radius. Okay, so you have Radius, and then you have NAS. So you just only need these 2 things. Okay, a Radius server and then NAS. So with our GLC Radius, we can support NAS from Mikrotik and then Cisco, and then also others. Yeah, because to some extent, yeah, we can support for general parameters like username and password. Okay, but for others, let's see. Okay. Also, as a recap, GLC Radio supports sharing of bandwidth and the data rate. Okay, anything else? Nothing? Okay, no more questions? I think everybody clear, or you don't have an idea? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for attending once again. Thank you for coming. If you don't mind, you can give our feedback on any meetings or feedback here. If you don't mind, also like our Facebook page, Slide will be uploaded on SlideShare, and then recording will be uploaded on YouTube. Okay, thank you for today. Have a nice day for everybody. Good evening for our friend from Australia, from Sydney. Must be very late there. Yeah, have a nice evening for everyone. Thank you very much.